My name is Marcus, and I'm 38 years old. Just 6 months ago, I was escorted out of my own company by security guards while my wife's family laughed and toasted champagne. Today, they're begging me for mercy through lawyers, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you how I went from being their charity case to holding their entire future in my hands. I met Rachel at a tech conference in Silicon Valley 8 years ago. I was presenting my revolutionary AI-driven logistics software, and she was there representing her family's shipping empire, Hartley Global Logistics. The Hartleys were old money, the kind of family with portraits in museums and buildings named after them. Rachel was different though, or so I thought. She seemed genuinely interested in my ideas, not just my potential to make money. We started dating, and I'll admit, I was swept off my feet. Rachel was beautiful, intelligent, and came from a world I'd only seen in movies. Me? I was a kid from Detroit who'd gotten lucky with a full scholarship to MIT. My parents were both teachers who'd saved every penny to give me opportunities they never had. The first time I met her family should have been a warning. Her father, William Hartley, looked at me like I was something he'd scrape off his shoe. "So you're the computer boy Rachel's been talking about," he said, not even bothering to shake my hand. Her mother, Victoria, literally looked me up and down and asked, "And your family is from? Where exactly?" Her brother James was worse. He, accidentally, spilled red wine on my only good suit and laughed. "Don't worry, I'm sure you can find another one at the thrift store." Rachel apologized later, said they were just protective. I was too in love to see the red flags. Despite their obvious disdain, I proposed to Rachel after 2 years of dating. She said yes immediately, and I thought maybe her family would warm up to me. At our engagement dinner, William pulled me aside. "Let's be clear," he said, blowing cigar smoke in my face. "You're marrying into the Hartley family. That comes with expectations. Your little computer project? That's cute, but real men run real businesses. Shipping. Logistics. Things that matter." I should have walked away then, but I didn't. I loved Rachel, and I was determined to prove myself. What they didn't know was that my little computer project was about to revolutionize their entire industry. The wedding was a Hartley production. 500 guests, a venue that cost more than my parents' house, and enough flowers to stock a botanical garden. My family, all 12 of them, were seated in the back corner like an afterthought. During the reception, Victoria gave a speech about how Rachel has always had a soft spot for charity cases, while looking directly at me. The room laughed. Rachel squeezed my hand under the table, but said nothing. After the wedding, William made me an offer. "Join the family business," he said. "We'll find something for you to do. Can't have a Hartley son-in-law playing with computers in his garage." The condescension dripped from every word, but I saw an opportunity. I agreed, but with conditions. I would join Hartley Global, but I would also continue developing my software. William laughed. "Sure, kid. Whatever keeps you busy." They gave me a tiny office in the basement, officially making me junior technology consultant, a made-up title with no real responsibilities. They thought they were humiliating me. Instead, they gave me inside access to their entire operation. I spent my days studying their systems, their contracts, their inefficiencies. At night, I refined my software, building something that could revolutionize how they did business. Rachel and I moved into a house her parents bought, another thing they loved to remind me about. "Must be nice living in a house you could never afford," James would say at every family dinner. Rachel would change the subject, but she never defended me. I told myself she was just keeping the peace. After a year of being their basement joke, I was ready. I presented my logistics software to the board, an AI system that could optimize shipping routes, predict delays, reduce costs by 40%, and increase efficiency by 60%. Even William couldn't hide his interest. The board was impressed. They agreed to a pilot program. Within 6 months, my software had saved them $8 million. Within a year, it had transformed their entire operation. Clients were amazed. Competitors were jealous. The financial press started calling Hartley Global the most innovative logistics company of the decade. Did they thank me? No. William took credit in every interview. James told everyone it was his idea. Victoria started introducing me as the help at social events. But I didn't care anymore. Because while they were busy taking credit, I was busy taking control. You see, I'd learned from the best. William had taught me through his treatment that in business, you protect yourself first. So when I developed the software, I didn't do it as a Hartley Global employee. I did it through my own LLC, established before I joined the company. The patents? All filed under my company, not theirs. The contracts? Licensed to Hartley Global, not sold. But I went deeper. I studied their corporate structure and found something interesting. The Hartley Family Trust, which controlled 51% of the company, had a fascinating clause. If the trust ever became insolvent, control would pass to the company's largest creditor. It was meant to keep the business in the family, a safeguard against hostile takeovers. They never imagined the call would come from inside the house. I started acquiring their debt. Every loan, every bond, every financial instrument I could find. I used the money from my software licensing fees, loans against my patents, and something else, Rachel's money. See, when we got married, she insisted on joint accounts. What's mine is yours, she said. I don't think she meant it the way I took it, but legally, she was right. 3 years into our marriage, I owned 73% of Hartley Global's debt. They had no idea. They were too busy humiliating me to notice the ground shifting beneath their feet. Rachel was too busy spending money and avoiding confrontation to notice our accounts draining. I was patient. I waited. The moment came last year. The shipping industry hit a rough patch. Hartley Global needed a major loan to stay afloat. Every bank turned them down. The industry was too volatile. That's when I made my move. Through a series of shell companies, I offered them the loan they needed. $50 million at reasonable terms. William was suspicious but desperate. He took the deal. I suggested we use my software to expand into new markets. It would require significant investment, but the returns would be enormous. The board loved it. We expanded aggressively, new routes, new warehouses, new contracts. All powered by my technology. All adding to their debt. Then came the board meeting 6 months ago. I'll never forget it. I walked in with a proposal to restructure the debt, to give me a larger equity stake in exchange for forgiveness of some loans. William laughed in my face. You think we need you, he said. The software is ours now. We've integrated it into everything. You're redundant. Victoria chimed in. It's time we discussed your future here, Marcus. Or should I say, your lack of one. James had already drawn up the paperwork. They were terminating my employment, buying out my minor equity stake for a pittance. Don't worry, William said. We'll still license your software. We're not monsters. But it's time you moved on. This is a family business, and well, you're not really family. I looked at Rachel. She was examining her manicure, refusing to meet my eyes. Rachel? I said. She shrugged. It's for the best, Marcus. You never really fit in here anyway. The board voted unanimously to remove me. Security was already waiting outside. As they escorted me out, William called after me. Thanks for the software, charity case. We'll take it from here. I went home to an empty house. Rachel was staying at her parents' place until things cooled down. I sat in my home office, surrounded by pictures of a life I thought I'd built, and smiled. They thought they'd won. They had no idea what was coming. The next morning, I called my lawyer. It's time, I said. He'd been preparing for this moment for 2 years. Within an hour, Hartley Global received notices from 17 different creditors, all me calling in their loans. $287 million due immediately. William called me furious. What the hell are you doing? Collecting what I'm owed, I said calmly. You have 30 days. You know we can't pay that immediately. Then I guess we'll see what happens when the trust becomes insolvent, won't we? The silence on the other end was beautiful. He'd finally read the fine print of his own family trust. But I wasn't done. Oh, and William? You might want to check the software licensing agreement. Terminating my employment triggers Clause 47B. All licenses are revoked immediately. You have 24 hours to remove my software from your systems or face penalties of $10 million per day. You can't do this. That software runs everything. I know, I said. I designed it that way. The family went into crisis mode. They tried to pay off the debt, but I'd bought up so much that even liquidating assets wouldn't cover it. They tried to continue using the software, but my lawyers shut down their systems remotely. Their entire operation ground to a halt. Rachel came home, tears streaming down her face. How could you do this to my family? The same way you stood silent while they humiliated me for years, I said, handing her divorce papers. Oh, and you might want to check our joint account. Seems like your expensive lifestyle was funded by loans against my patents. You're personally liable for about $3 million. She turned white. Marcus, please. We can work this out. We could have, I said. Every time they insulted me, we could have. Every time they diminished me, we could have. When they kicked me out of my own company, we could have. But you chose your side. The bankruptcy proceedings were swift. The trust became insolvent, and as the largest creditor, I took control. The board that had laughed while voting me out now sat silent as I voted them out one by one. William's face when security escorted him out, the same security he'd used on me, was priceless. James tried to physically attack me. He screamed about family legacy, about how I'd destroyed centuries of tradition. Your tradition of treating people like garbage? I asked. Yes, I destroyed that. Victoria attempted tears, begging me to think of what the Hartley name meant. It means nothing to me, I told her. Just like I meant nothing to you. I restructured the company, keeping the valuable parts and selling off the rest. The Hartley name? Gone. The family fortune? Absorbed into paying off debts. Their homes, their cars, their art collection? All collateral that was liquidated. Rachel and I divorced quickly. She tried to claim I'd hidden assets, but my lawyers presented years of financial records showing everything was legal. The prenup her father had insisted on, meant to protect their wealth from me, ended up protecting my wealth from them. She got nothing. Last week, I received a call from William. He's working as a consultant now, the irony not lost on either of us. Please, he begged. Victoria has a heart condition. We can't afford her medication. I felt something then. Not sympathy, but closure. You know what, William? I'll help. I'll pay for Victoria's medication. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you. On one condition, I continued. You publicly admit what you did. How you treated me. How you tried to steal my work. Everything. The line went quiet. I can't do that. Then I can't help you. Good luck, William. I hung up and looked around my new office, the one that used to be his. The portraits of Hartley ancestors had been replaced with pictures of my parents, my real family. The ones who taught me the value of hard work and the importance of standing up for yourself. My company is worth $2 billion now. My software runs logistics operations for half the Fortune 500. I've created scholarships for kids like me, smart, driven, but born into the wrong families. Kids who are told they don't belong. Sometimes I think about Rachel. She's living with her parents now, all four of them in a 2-bedroom apartment. I heard she's working as a receptionist. James is driving for a rideshare company. The mighty Hartleys, reduced to the working class they so despised. Did I go too far? Maybe. But every time I doubt myself, I remember William's face as he called me a charity case. I remember Victoria's smirk when she called me the help. I remember James's laughter as he spilled wine on my suit. Most of all, I remember Rachel's silence, her choosing them over me every single time. They thought they were teaching me a lesson about power and privilege. They were right. They taught me that power isn't inherited, it's taken. They taught me that privilege can be destroyed by someone smart enough and patient enough to play the long game. They taught me that family isn't about blood or names or tradition. It's about loyalty. The last time I saw William, he was leaving a job interview at one of my subsidiary companies. He didn't know I owned it. He looked older, defeated. For a moment, our eyes met. He looked away first. Mr. Chun, my assistant said, entering my office. The Hartley estate auction is tomorrow. Did you want to bid on anything? I thought about it. Their family home, the place where they'd humiliated me countless times, was up for sale. Yes, I said. Buy it all. Then donate it to the city for a youth center. Make sure the Hartley name isn't on it anywhere. She nodded and left. I turned back to my window, looking out at the city skyline. Somewhere out there, the Hartleys were learning what it felt like to be powerless, to be dismissed, to be treated like they didn't matter. They called me a charity case. They were right. I was their charity case. I gave them every opportunity to treat me with respect, to see my worth, to be decent human beings. They chose cruelty instead. Now they're the ones who need charity. And just like they showed me, I'm showing them exactly how much they deserve. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.